Hello dear students, I'm Madam Viparyanganan from SMK Chetok. I'd like to welcome all of you back to the world of learning, albeit online learning. I hope you've had a restful break and are all geared up to start our session. Today, I'm going to guide you through Lesson 1 of Form 3 English. The theme for today's lesson is People and Culture, and the topic is Family Ties. If you have your textbook close up, you can refer to pages 5 to 7 of the book. If you haven't received it yet, no worries. I'll show you the relevant parts on the screen. Now, for today's lesson, we're just going to focus on the first 3 tasks, A, B, and C. As you're on your own, we are just going to ignore the part about pair work, and you'll have to do all your work individually. Before we go further, let's see what you're learning today and the success criteria. What you're learning today. Today, you're learning to understand the main points in a passage on family ties by matching 3 headings to the respective 3 out of 4 paragraphs in the passage, and explain your own way of how to learn about your family's past. How do you know whether you're successful? You're considered successful if you can match at least 2 out of 3 main points to the correct paragraphs, and give and elaborate at least one way of how you can learn about your family's past. To kick off our learning session today, let's examine the topic family ties. I believe you have no problems with the word family, but what about the word ties? Can you give me some words that are similar to ties in this context? Right? Okay, the first word that I can give you is connections. Okay, next one, relationships. And the last one, bonds. Now, look at the picture on page 5 in your textbook, close up. 3 hands laid next to each other. Read the caption. For those who haven't got the textbook with you, I've enlarged the caption for you. It reads, a child's hand, a mother's hand, and a grandmother's hand. 3 generations side by side. What do you think about the caption? Do you think it's suitable? Why do you think people's hands change when they get older? Can you see how smooth the smallest hand is? Look at the one in the middle. Is there a difference? And look at the last hand. Is there a difference in appearance and texture? What can you tell about a person just by looking at his or her hands? Can you tell the age, the job? I'm going to leave you with the questions. When you have time to go, have a look at your family members' hands and ponder on the questions. Now look at the photos on the screen. Imagine that they're all from a family album. How do you think they're related? How many words for family members can you think of? Write as many as you can in 1 minute. You can pause the video for 1 minute, starting from now, and write down the relationships. Once you're done, compare your list with the one on the screen. Anything you have that's not on the screen? Kudos to you. Parents, father, mother, siblings, brother, sister, elder brother, elder sister, younger brother, younger sister, husband, wife, niece, nephew, grandparents, grandfather, grandmother, cousin, uncle, aunt, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, father-in-law, and lastly, mother-in-law. Anything you have that's not on the screen? Kudos to you. Now we will now attempt task B. Read the task carefully and make sure you understand it. Look at the words in bold. What are you required to do? For this part, you are asked to list down the different ways you can do to get to know your family's past. Pause the video and list 3 ways in your notebook now. The next step is to quickly read the text. Now remember, you're not going to read the passage thoroughly. You're simply going to compare the 3 different ways you have listed with the ones we can find in the text. Now this is the whole text. The title is Meet the Ancestors and it contains 4 paragraphs. You can pause the video and read the text in your textbook first. Or if you still haven't received the textbook, you can continue watching and read the next 5 slides. This is the title of your reading passage. Meet the Ancestors. What makes you who you are? Part of the answer is in your family's past. Become a detective and find clues to your family history. This is paragraph 1 of your text. Can you find any reference to the different ways you can learn about your family's past? Okay, take your time, to look for ways you can learn about your family's past. If you can't find any, we'll move on to the next slide. Now this is paragraph 2 of your text. What about this section? Can you find any reference to the different ways you can learn about your family's past? Look at the highlighted part. It's related to the task, right? But is there any method mentioned? Since it's at the end of this paragraph, the methods will probably be in the next paragraph. Now the third paragraph. We can see a phrase similar to the one in the task. Learn about your task. Learn about your past, sorry. Now, since the task is asking for ways, we need to look for things we can do. So, sentences that contain the model can plus verb are strong possibilities. Look at the highlighted sentences. You can begin by asking your relatives questions about your ancestors. And you can draw a family tree with your name at the top. These are definitely ways. Do you have any of these in your list? And the final paragraph. We are still looking for ways. Can you find the 2 examples given here? Look for can. Now good. The 2 examples are can look for family names in old newspapers in a library and can also search the internet as highlighted in the passage. Now here's the list of ways you can find in the passage. Okay. The first one is you can begin by asking your relatives questions about your ancestors, which can be found in paragraph 3. Second one is you can draw a family tree with your name at the top, which is also found in paragraph 3. The third one is you can look for family names in old newspapers in a library and public records, which is found in paragraph 4. And the last one is you can also search the internet, found in paragraph 4 as well. Now, so how many of these 4 do you have on your list? Now let's look at the instructions for task C first. Read the text about family history and match the headings below with the correct sections in the text. In other words, the task requires you to understand the main point in each paragraph and see which heading in the slide is suitable for each paragraph. Remember the text that we read through just now? How many paragraphs does the text have? 4, right? If you look at the task, you only have 3 headings to match. This means that 1 paragraph or section will be out. Heading A, your turn. What do you think it's about? What does it mean when people say it's your turn? It's about what you can do, right? The next heading, what is genealogy? What do you expect to find in a paragraph with this heading? Yes, the definition of genealogy. The last one, research and records. What do you think the paragraph with this heading contains? Anything to do with research and records. Correct. Now, try to match each paragraph with a suitable heading. Let's examine paragraph 1. What is it about? Does it have anything to do with what you can do? Does it define genealogy? Does it mention research and records? Nothing conclusive, right? So let's just leave it first. You can pause the video to read through the paragraph. Okay, this is paragraph 2. I think this is quite obvious, especially if you look at the part I've highlighted. It's called genealogy. It's the study of the people you're related to, right? So I'm pretty sure that you can find the answer now. Now, what do you think of this paragraph? What is it about? Does it have anything to do with what you can do? Does it define genealogy? Does it mention research and records? Look at the part I've highlighted if you're not sure. Learn about your past. Try to relate it to any of the given headings. Which do you think is most suitable? A, B, or C? Right. Now let's examine paragraph 4, the final paragraph. What is it about? Does it have anything to do with what you can do? Does it define genealogy? Does it mention research and records? Easy, right? Now here are the answers for task C. So how many did you get right? We have come to the end of our lesson for today. Let's do some reflection. Now let's see whether you have achieved the targets set at the beginning of the class. Now these are the 2 targets that we've set at the beginning of the class. The first one, I'm able to match at least 2 out of 3 main points to the correct paragraphs, which is actually in task B. You can go back to the task and look at the score that you have achieved. If you have achieved at least 2 out of 3, put a tick there in the box. The second one, I'm able to give and elaborate at least one way of how I can learn about my family's past. If you are able to give me at least one way of how you can learn about your family's past, also put a tick in the column. Now, if you have achieved both targets, congratulations, right? Give yourself a pat on the back. Now, if you haven't reached your target, now go get help from your friends or your teacher. Don't be ashamed to get help. Ask them where you've gone wrong. Don't just give up. Life is a learning process. Keep at it to succeed. That is all for today. Till we meet again, stay safe.